Have you ever wondered why God gives us blessings wrapped in tests? Why his gifts sometimes feel veiled behind clouds, unseen, unrecognized, until the heart awakens? There's a verse in the Quran that speaks softly yet profoundly to this mystery. It tells of manna and quails, of clouds and shade. But behind these earthly images lies a secret of the soul, the story of our own spiritual hunger in the divine's endless mercy. This is Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 57, and through the Sufi lens, it unveils not history alone, but the map of every heart longing for the beloved. Verse he states, "And we shaded you with clouds and sent down to you manna and quails, saying, eat of the good things we have provided for you. But they wronged us not, but they wronged themselves. And we shaded you with clouds." At the outer level, this refers to the divine shade God provided for the Israelites during their wandering in the desert, clouds protecting them from the burning sun. But Sufis read this as a symbol of divine protection, the unseen mercy that covers the soul during the heat of trial. The clouds are the veils of Rama, mercy that surround the seeker even when he feels abandoned. They are the moments when God hides his majesty so his mercy may be bearable. The scorching sun of divine Jalal, majesty, would annihilate the self if it weren't softened by these clouds of Jamal, beauty. In the journey of the heart, every human soul wanders in the desert of forgetfulness, lost between the mirages of the world. The clouds are the spiritual intuitions, the sudden calm and despair, the unspoken help that descends just before the spirit collapses. You might call them coincidences, but in truth they are God's clouds shading your inner being. And sent down to you manna and quails. To the Israelites, manna and quails were literal food, heavenly sustenance. But the Sufis see this as a metaphor for divine nourishment, spiritual food descending from the unseen realm. Manna is subtle, sweet, light, like inspiration, like divine intuition. It represents the sustenance of the soul, the invisible nourishment that comes when the heart opens to remembrance. Quails, being tangible and earthy, represent the sustenance of the body, the practical blessings, the daily bread, the worldly ease God provides. Thus the verse tells us God feeds both, the seen and the unseen parts of you. The body receives what keeps it alive. The soul receives what keeps it awake. But here lies a secret. Manna doesn't last. It melts when stored. This means spiritual grace cannot be hoarded. Each day the seeker must return with humility to receive it anew. The manna of yesterday will not feed today's hunger. So when you feel spiritually empty, it's not that God has stopped sending manna. It's that you've stopped gathering it with an open heart. Eat of the good things we have provided for you. This command isn't only about food. It's about acceptance, gratitude, and awareness. To eat in the Sufi sense is to internalize what is given, to transform outer gifts into inner realization. God is saying, do not merely consume what I give, absorb its meaning, taste the divine giver within every gift. Every blessing, whether it's a simple meal, a breath, or a moment of peace, carries within it a trace of the divine. The real sin isn't in disobedience, it's in forgetfulness, in eating the gift and forgetting the giver. The good things as tayyibat symbolize all that uplifts the soul: truth, love, sincerity, remembrance, beauty, compassion. When the heart consumes these, it grows luminous, but when the self feeds on resentment, greed, and arrogance, the soul becomes heavy, veiled. Thus God's command, eat of the good things, is a gentle reminder to nourish your being with purity, for what you consume becomes what you are. But they wronged us not, but they wronged themselves. This is the most haunting and beautiful part. God, who is beyond harm, tells us, they did not wrong us. How could the infinite be affected by the actions of the finite? Every act of ingratitude, every denial, every turning away It never touches the divine. It only darkens the mirror of the soul. Sufis say the real punishment for turning from God is not fire. It's emptiness. It's the loss of meaning, the numbness of the heart that no pleasure can fill. That's what it means to wrong oneself, to cut oneself off from the source of light, to become a wanderer again in the desert of selfhood. When the Israelites complained of the manna and craved the foods of Egypt, it wasn't just physical boredom, it was spiritual forgetfulness. They were asking for the taste of the past, the bondage of familiarity, instead of the taste of divine freedom. And isn't that us too? We long for what enslaves us because it feels safe, and reject what liberates us because it feels unfamiliar. The spiritual map hidden in the verse. Every phrase of this verse is a mirror reflecting the journey of the seeker. The desert is our world of distractions. The clouds are divine protection, veiling us from despair. The manna and quails are both worldly and spiritual sustenance. The command to eat is the call to live with awareness. The self-wronging is the tragedy of forgetting the source. This verse isn't just history, it's happening now, within you. Each time you feel lost, God shades you with mercy. Each time you hunger for meaning, He sends manna from the unseen. A word, a verse, a moment of stillness that revives you. And every time you forget, He reminds you gently, you do not harm me. You only turn away from yourself. The veil and the gift. In Sufi reflection, even the clouds that obscure the sun are mercy. They remind us that sometimes God hides Himself to teach us longing, for it is in the absence that love sharpens, and in the hunger that the soul learns gratitude. The manna descends, not from the sky of this world, but from the sky of the unseen heart. Every insight, every moment of peace in chaos, every whisper of intuition, that's manna. Every act of kindness that nourishes another, that's quail. To live spiritually is to recognize the sacred in the ordinary, to taste the divine flavor even in a sip of water, to feel His presence in the shade that protects you from the heat of your trials. Closing reflection. What if every storm in your life was actually a cloud shading you? What if every period of emptiness was a divine hunger preparing you for manna? And what if every loss was simply God saying, do not hoard what I gave, return to me for more? This verse is not a story of ancient people. It's a revelation of your inner journey. The shade, the food, the command, the warning, all are part of your dialogue with the divine. The only real question is, are you listening? If these words touch something within you, let that feeling stay. Don't let it fade into distraction. Reflect tonight. Where in your life has God already shaded you with unseen mercy? What manna has He sent that you've overlooked? And if this reflection opened your heart, share it with someone wandering in their own desert, because sometimes the cloud that shades another might just be you. May your soul always recognize the manna descending from heaven, even when it falls in silence.